Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the co-founder of Texas Mobile Dentist, and he's going to talk about why his business is on a roll. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, on this show, I love to do spotlights on disruptors, and my next guest is absolutely disrupting the dental industry. Dr. Gary Solomon, he is the dental director and co-founder of Texas Mobile Dentist. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's always nice to see you and be with you. For sure.
Okay, so before we get into how your dental office on wheels makes house calls, I want the audience to appreciate your pedigree, because you've spent more than 40 years in dentistry and have really achieved some of the highest awards in the field.
Thank you. Yes. There are multiple levels of continuing education as defined by the Academy of General Dentistry, and the first level is fellowship. It takes about 400 hours of classroom hours and participation and lecturing, and I was able to accomplish that. After a while, it takes at least 5 years. And then the next level is a little harder. It is the Master of Academy of General Dentistry, and it's another 600 hours or so of continued publications and lecturing and taking continuing education, and I got there.
Well, let's talk about you guys. You've had a successful practice for many, many years in Dallas, but now you've kind of transitioned into mobile dentistry. Tell us about that transition.
Oh my, good. Well, it's a great story, and it's a passion I have to treat the elderly. And it started, I suppose, I was born in Fort Worth, and my grandparents' generation had a lot of family and friends around, and we used to visit them all the time. And as they got older, they got ill and sicker, and we continued to visit them. And being around elderly or older folks with issues and problems was not a problem for me. Advance the story, I got accepted to University of Texas, and I was a pharmacy major. Then after that, I went to Baylor Dental School, became a dentist. And then after that, I got a residency at the VA hospital, which is really, I was very fortunate. There's only 4 of them available in Texas. I was so lucky to get one. There, of course, you see a lot of elderly, you see a lot of veterans, and you see a lot of diseases and war injuries and so forth. And we had to get them where they can eat, have nutrition, and maintain health. Advance that a little further. I opened my private practice, and one of the early things I did was go around to nursing homes and said, do you need a dentist to be your dentist in the nursing home because you're building a practice? So they said, yes, we do. So I became a nursing home dentist, which was great. Now, then the dental school asked me to come back and teach. So I taught more at the dental school, and now advance the story just a little bit, and let's bring in Bob and Dan for a second, a pause. So Bob and Dan are wonderful engineers who, during a merger of their companies, they got displaced. They were still wanting to do something, and so Bob's wife was Barbara. She was a nurse, and she used to do home health care, and she went to nursing homes. So Bob went with Barbara looking for something to do, and he asked the head nurse, what do you need? And the head nurse said, well, we need dentists to come here because our people can't leave here, and some of them are in memory care, and some of them, they need to eat frequently, so we just can't send them all out. So Bob was, well, that's interesting. I never knew that you needed a dentist in a nursing home. So Bob did a little investigations, and he found a dentist inventor in Seattle, Washington, of all places, who was experimenting with mobile dental instrumentation. So Bob bought the early model, and they had a lot of tweaking that it had to be done, but Dan fortunately was a great engineer, so he was able to tweak it. So Bob went to an attorney in Austin. He lives in Austin, and he told the attorney he wanted to do a dental business, a mobile dental business. And the attorney said to Bob, the practice of dentistry is highly regulated by the state, the Texas State Board of Dental Examiners, and you need to find a lawyer who knows what to do. He says, and by the way, you need to go see Julie Wolfe in Dallas, Texas. Okay, so let's pause that for just a minute and go to the next moment in time, which is Orthodontic Centers of America. Now you wonder what this is all about. This is an amazing story. Orthodontic Centers of America many years ago was probably the first HMO in dentistry. And it went to these orthodontists and they said, we can own your practice. We can do all the hiring, the firing, the paperwork, and you just get to do orthodontics the way you want to. Well, anyway, dozens of orthodontists signed on to this. Anyway, as with most corporate entities, profit was a little more important than people, and the orthodontists began to band together and rebel. They filed a giant lawsuit. It was in the American Dental Association. It was all over the nation because this business was all over the nation. It so happened that Orthodontic Centers of America went to trial, had an appeal, and Orthodontic Centers of America won the whole deal. One of the lawyers on that case was Julie Wolfe. So now advance the story a little further. Bob goes to this dentist, like I mentioned, in Austin. He said, you need to see this Julie Wolfe in Dallas. So he calls Julie Wolfe in Dallas. And Julie says, I know the business. I know what you need. You're going to need a dental director. The dentists have to work for the dentist, and you manage it, and you do all the other paperwork and everything. But by the way, you're just going to have a Texas licensed dentist to own this. And I know the guy, my dad, Dr. Gary Solomon. Well, before you know it, wow. Now I'm a dental director of Texas Mobile Dentists.
That's a great story.
It's just, and it doesn't really stop. It just kind of keeps going.
Well, how many markets are you in now?
We're in 5 in Texas. We're in the 5 major cities, and we can go to other cities. I recently testified before the State Board of Dental Examiners on teledentistry, which I suggested it be called telediagnosis, and they love that idea. So now I can send a dentist up to Lubbock or Amarillo and do some work and get something going, because we can always hire hygienists and dental assistants. We just can't find dentists who will leave their practices because they have a whole practice to run. So if we can figure it out, we can do it.
No, I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's a game changer for your industry. We're going to pull up your website.
Oh, okay.
You have a beautiful website, and then as we scroll down it, are you specializing in elder care, or do corporations bring you in to help with employees?
It's a great question, Jeff. Our niche is pretty much in this area, facilities. We go into the facilities, and oftentimes they'll give us the space, the room we need, and we coordinate the patients and the times and the appointments, and we work within that. They all have now physicians on staff who monitor their medications, and it's a really well-oiled machinery that we have going right now. So our focus is on facilities, but we can see the trend changing a little bit, and with the government coming in and having a lot of money, we actually did sign a big contract with Houston to use Medicare as part of our model. And so the model is changing a little bit.
Wow. We found a great overview video. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Routine dental care is essential to overall health. Early diagnosis and treatment of issues reduce the need for complicated, costly procedures further down the road. Unfortunately, older and disabled populations run a higher risk of developing serious oral conditions and disease. Enable Dental on-site care is available to those with a range of physical, mental, and logistical challenges. One scalable, portable solution meets the needs of private residences and care facilities throughout the community. A visit from the dentist is easier and more comfortable than ever thanks to Enable Dental. Here, experienced dental pros offer comprehensive services via a holistic approach. Everything you'd expect from a traditional practice and more is at your door. Convenience alongside improved health outcomes makes this a great option for anyone who has trouble getting to the dentist. Finally, complete dental care for all. A perfect, healthy smile is always around the corner at Enable Dental. Reach out to our friendly, talented team today.
I think your timing is absolutely perfect. They call it the silver tsunami. So many people are aging these days
Right.
that, to your point, if no one is taking care of our elderly, they're in trouble. I mean, if your teeth are not taken care of, it can affect your entire health. can't it?
Absolutely, 100%. And a lot of these people, they can't really express themselves. If they've got a toothache or an infection, they can't really, you can only tell by their symptomology that they're in pain because they can't talk. So that's when we come in, we like to do our exams and take x-rays and see, this is tell the power of attorney or the daughter or the son, your mom or dad or your uncle needs some help. And in fact, all of our dentists are very passionate about helping the elderly. That's probably one of the keys that go through this. And when in the early days, I went down to Austin to teach, best practices, compassion for the elderly, how to take care of folks. And this was my passion too. So this is how it evolved.
And I've been told that if eyes are the window to the soul, the mouth is the window to your entire health, right? Because you guys can often detect heart disease before their general doctor would.
If you think of the mouth as a breeding ground for all kinds of germs and bacteria and viruses, if we see something that's not right, we can initiate a conversation with the physicians and get some treatment started, or at least some diagnosing done. Yeah, the mouth is just it's a open window to find out what's going on with the person.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You're also passionate about helping veterans. Let's talk about that.
Sure. I think my work at the VA was just so heartfelt for me to see all these men and women who gave of themselves and are injured and whatever. So there's the original people, Dan and Bob, who I mentioned earlier, we decided to buy NASCAR vans. So these are the vans that you can put two NASCARs in, and we got these trailers. They're not vans, they're actually trailers. And we outfitted them, and Dan, the brilliant engineer, you could put 4 treatment rooms, exam rooms in one trailer.
Wow.
And he put sinks and water, compressed air, and vacuum in these things. And we started with one of these trailers, and I said, Bob, we are just ahead of tomorrow. You know that? So anyway, what Bob did, that became the logo, and on the vans it says Texas Mobile Dentist ahead of tomorrow. That was on the vans. Anyway,
amazing.
The trailers went to military bases all over the country, and during the drawdown after the Middle East, the military, they have to be ready for combat 24/7. So they have real frequent examinations of ear, eye, nose, throat, eyes, and dentists. And so we help them provide that instrumentation in that facility. Now that the drawdown is down, and we have so many veterans now, we now have 5 of these trailers, and we rent them out to the Veterans Administration all over the country.
That is amazing. Now, it's called Texas Mobile Dentist, but this idea, it seems like it could be rolled out across the country.
It is, and the other business, the trailer business, is called Worldwide Dental Logistics, and it's separate from the other one. The original owners, Bob and Dan, sold this business to a fellow named Paul. And Paul is the one who really took this national and really expanded it from one trailer and one dentist to, I think I have maybe between 20, 25 dentists at any one time working for me in Texas. And then there are other states. It's an amazing
Outstanding. Well,
opportunity.
congrats on the success of your business. We've only got a couple minutes left.
Sure.
Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
If you find somebody with a heart of gold, let them do their thing. Whether it's with us, it's dentistry. This is our gifts. This is our talent. And we were given these gifts, and this is a way we give back. This has always been the way I give back. And as I hire young dentists who are starting off in their practices, we bring them in and they work with us, and they learn how to take care of elderly people. we're always going to have this silver tsunami, as you talked about. It's just going to get greater and greater and greater. And if you can express your passion in some way that helps other people, I would say do it.
Outstanding. You've been a great guest. Dr. Gary Solomon, we're going to end with the website, which is enabledental.com. The great Dr. Gary Solomon. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.